welcome to Bickering Book Reviews. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Becky.
And so today we're going to be talking about Brodi Ashton's diplomatic immunity. And what is diplomatic immunity, you may ask me? Well, it's about this high school girl, Piper, who goes to a prestigious academy where it's easier to win a scholarship to college for journalism because her family is going through a rough time and she needs to find money for college. So her whole life is wrapped up in finding the best scoop and getting that scholarship. While at this prestigious academy, she's there with all of these embassy leaders and sons of the rich and powerful, and has decided that she will determine why they suck. Why they're up to scandals and blow the roof off of this scooper, whatever. And basically she meets the boy Raph, who she has decided that's who's going to be the subject of her newspaper article, only she kind of starts falling in love with him and he kind of starts falling in love with her, so it becomes this, should I tell everybody about it, shouldn't I tell anybody about it, burning bridges and all that kind of craziness. So that's basically what this is in a nutshell.
That's in a nutshell. So
Alright, so I think we should start with the fact that Becky originally got this off of Edelweiss, so that's where you can get like advanced reader copy or digital advanced reader copies. I did read the physical copy. However, with each of these, there is the summary that you read about a book before you get started.
On the book jacket.
Like what you expect to get when you get into this book.
And from the blurb,
So from the blurb, we were expecting one kind of book, but then hello bait and switch, we get in there and what the blurb talks about is really not what the book is about.
Right, because the blurb made it sound like this is a girl reporter who uncovers a scandal and it goes out in the newspaper and it rocks the world, and then the boy who's in the middle of the scandal just shows up at her bedroom window one night and they have to work together to come out with the real what happened. It's kind of, that actually makes it sound like kind of like The Fixer. I would have liked that book.
Yeah, about like actually blowing the roof off this joint and like looking at the after effects. However,
that's not what we got.
The things that in the blurb don't really show up until less than the last half.
I don't feel like that.
It's really about something totally different. I think they do show up in a general sense. They don't show up until like the very end of the book.
So, and character of Piper, who should be our sassy Nancy Drew meets Veronica Mars, is just kind of blah. Everything about her is kind of blah.
See, and I actually had a stronger reaction to her than that. I wanted to watch her burn. Like, she just really irritated me. She's like burning all these bridges. She's a tattletale. She's the reason why the statement "snitches get stitches" is around. Like, legit.
Well, and it was like everything that, like, she was a scholarship student. She didn't fit in. She was so, like, prestigious at her school newspaper before she went to the scholarship student. She lost all that. She worked at a froyo shop. It was like everything you would expect from a generic scholarship student character.
But you just didn't like her. Like,
I didn't root for her. For me to like.
I didn't root for her. Like, her first big story at her new prestigious academy, she's taking on the principal, calling him a liar, and creating this scandal, and then can't understand why her principal doesn't want to even interact with her and why she didn't get the kudos from the teachers like she thought she would.
And then, like, one of the parts of the story is that she and Rafe kind of bond over is that they both have brothers who are on the spectrum. And I don't know, it just felt kind of like it didn't work. Like, it was like she just threw that in there to throw that in there. Now, you actually liked that aspect of it.
It did felt thrown in there, but it was like the only semi-interesting part of it, because what I found interesting about it is it seems like they were characters on the spectrum, but they were doing just like normal things, which I think it wasn't a point of, I don't know, it just was like it wasn't a big deal that that's who they were, I guess.
Yeah.
That it was just, hey, let's go play Scrabble with our brothers, and it's just a thing.
Well, and I liked her other series, which you didn't read, the Fantasy Takeoff series of Persephone. I thought that was really well written, and I thought she created this like great universe, and I feel like she's trying to do that by telling you about these embassy parties and all this stuff. But it didn't get there. Like, the world wasn't completely built, and the characters weren't interesting enough for me to want to follow them into the world. Even Rafe should be like the crush. You should want to know about him, but instead I was just like, so?
Yeah, no, I didn't care.
And like, and he was even so stereotypical. He was good looking and misunderstood, and his father was mean, and he just wanted to study chemistry.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last big part of this book, though, is diplomatic immunity, the title. It keeps popping up related to this world, and
I don't think she's using it correctly.
well, like, my issue was, you could easily have just thrown in there, Merriam-Webster dictionary definition of diplomatic immunity is this, and then kind of play with the word, because she plays with the word throughout the book, but she never founds the actual discussion of it. She doesn't give a definition of what it's supposed to be, and then talk about why it's not what it is. And she says it so many times that it's just like, stop talking about it. You didn't put enough effort into it in the beginning, that I just need you to just move along. We just need to move along.
It just didn't work for me. And no, and like with her other series, like, and I also, she was part of the authors that wrote My Lady Jane, which is about Lady Jane Grey, who was Queen of England for 3 weeks. And then, but it's like very fantasy, and I think that's the problem. I think she's really good with fantasy, but it just did not work in this realistic fiction. And like I said, My Lady Jane was hilarious and over the top, and like, it's based in when was that? 1500? When did Henry VIII die? Whatever. But like, people are turning into horses, and like, it's funny, and it was quirky and interesting, and this was just like, can we get it done faster?
Well, I think that might get into the curse of how authors can do really well when they write with somebody else, but can do really terribly when they write on their own.
But her other Everneath series was really good, but maybe she's just not a realistic fiction author.
Which is just possible.
I think that's all she's written. I think Everneath, those 3 books were her first series, and I think My Lady Jane, which they wrote, which was her and 2 other authors, and this, I think, is all she's written. And I mean, I will keep reading because I like the other stuff, but I think one more realistic fiction that I don't like, and I'm out with that.
Okay.
So we should probably rate it.
Alright, I'm gonna rate it 1 troll, because I think the troll is representative of Piper, because Piper is the troll of this book, and therefore it gets a troll.
See, and I didn't think it was quite that bad. I think my problem is it's just there wasn't anything particularly special about it. I liked it enough to keep reading, so I'm gonna give it 1 fairy. I know, like I said, it was like, for what it was okay. There just wasn't enough there. It was good for what it was. It just, there wasn't enough.
Okay.
We agree to disagree. We agree to disagree.
I just like it. Either way, adios.
Bye.